What's the story, Morning Glory? What's the word, Hummingbird? Thank you so much for clicking on my channel and for joining me for this review of Married at First Sight Season 17 Reunion Part 1. So first of all, I want to mention how stressed I was about this reunion. The days leading up to today, I was so full of anxiety because I just didn't want to go through the emotional turmoil that these people bring and the anger that I feel when I see certain people. So I was not looking forward to this reunion at all. And normally on any reality TV show, I look forward to the reunion if it has one. I always look forward to the reunions for people to confront each other about things that were said and done during the season, to tie up loose ends and to figure out where everybody is now. But with Married at First Sight Season 17, I was not looking forward to this reunion at all. But it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. So let's get started. So first of all, they had all the men and Chloe sitting on one side, and then all the women and Orion sitting on the other side. So there was a clear division between the men and the women, and all the women were wearing pink except for Chloe. So the question was, why were they all wearing pink? And they talk about how it was because of solidarity and being strong and all this other nonsense. Unfortunately, Chloe was not included in that, right? So they said that the reason why Chloe wasn't wearing pink was because she came into the season late. That has something to do with the timing of when she came onto the show. So either she wasn't a part of the group chat, they have excluded her from their group chat because they're so focused on their own anger and on their own revenge towards the man. They're so focused on that, they probably forgot about including Chloe in the group chat. Or maybe Chloe just didn't want to be a part of the nonsense. Maybe they asked her to wear pink and she didn't want to wear pink because it's quite immature. So Becca admits that more happened off camera than happened on. We all know that was the theme of season 17, that the real show was going on behind camera while the audience got a whole bunch of fakery and nonsense and scraps of what was really going on. So Emily accuses Cameron of running away. Okay, first of all, I also want to say that there is a lot happening in this reunion, and when everybody is on stage, sometimes, people talk over each other, everybody's talking at the same time. So I probably did not get everything that happened or everything that was said, and that's not the purpose of my review, is to talk about every little thing. So I'm probably going to miss a whole lot of stuff. I'm only going to talk about the stuff that I remembered and the stuff that really stood out to me. So there was a point when Emily had accused Cameron of running away. And Cameron was like, what are you talking about? How did I run away? So Emily says that he had pulled Claire to the side and he told her that he was not attracted to her. So this left her very vulnerable, in a really vulnerable state. And so by him telling her that he wasn't attracted to her, it was him running away emotionally. Okay, first of all, Emily, why are you involved in someone else's relationship? If that was what happened, let Claire and Cameron talk about that. Let Claire bring that up. This whole thing of I have to speak for my sister because she can't speak for herself. Garbage. Basura. Stop it. Just stop it. Okay, y'all are such strong power. I thought pink was empowering. Y'all were so powerful because y'all were wearing pink. So how come you can't tell your own story? Tell your own story. Tell your own narrative. Stop with this whole thing. I got to speak for my sister because she can't speak for. Just stop. So that's number one. Number two. You're not even getting the story straight. I'm pretty sure you're not even getting the story straight. So Cameron said that never happened. He never pulled her to the side to tell her that he wasn't attracted to her. I never felt that Cameron was never attracted to Claire. I always felt like when I was watching the show, from what they were showing me on camera, and the way that they acted on camera, I always thought that Cameron was attracted to Claire, that he really wanted to build something with Claire. That's what I always felt like. Sometimes he was a little bit rough around the edges. Sometimes he was a little bit awkward, but I was under the impression that Cameron liked Claire more than she liked him, if she liked him at all. That's the impression that I got. So for Emily to say, well, why did you pull her to the side and tell her that you weren't attracted to her? I don't believe it. I really don't believe that it went down like that. So Cameron denied it. He said that never happened. And then Emily accused Brennan. Okay, so then they talk about how, because this was all part of the whole thing about how they were being manipulated by the men and the men were controlling them and all this other stuff. So Emily talks about how Brennan was deleting This is what she said. She said that he deleted my diary cam. And then Brandon said, did I delete them or did I ask you to delete them? And Emily goes, same thing. No, it's not. No, it's not. Emily, sweetheart, it's not the same thing. Him asking you and him actually doing it are two very different things. For him to take your camera or your phone or whatever the hell you're recording on and to delete things that you recorded, that's like a whole nother level of aggression. That is completely different from him saying to you, Emily, can you please delete that because I don't like what you said about me. I don't like how you're presenting me, whatever. Completely different. It is not the same thing. So which one was it? Did he take the camera from you and delete them, or did he ask you to delete them? So then the question was, Brandon, did you manipulate what was being seen on camera, what was being presented on camera? And so Brandon is, he's full of it. Okay. Brandon is full of it. He is full of it. When he starts, his whole diatribe about, well, we're living private lives and, some things we needed to keep to ourselves. Stop. And so I loved it when Kevin was like, hey, why? You can't live a private life on a reality TV show when there's cameras with you, like, I don't know how many hours per day, more than not. Okay. The producers, the camera crew, they're with them when they're filming, they're with them more than they're not. So let's stop with the whole, we're living, we deserve privacy and some things had to be kept private. You're on a reality TV show where every part of your life is practically documented for the purpose of producing a show. So you were trying to present false narratives and put on this facade for the cameras, Brandon, because you wanted to look a certain way. You wanted to be appealable. You wanted to be liked. You wanted to be popular. You didn't want people to talk about you negatively. You didn't want this to affect your public persona in a negative way. That's the reason why y'all were trying to do all of these fake narratives. Okay, fine. I think there was also a question. I'm not sure exactly when it was asked, so I might repeat myself if I come across it at the right time. But I do remember, and I don't want to forget this, when Kevin asked the women, when they were talking about, why were y'all wearing pink? And he asked the women, he says, okay, if y'all are so strong and so powerful, why did you allow yourselves to be manipulated by these men? These men are not, these high rolling, high powered, multi-millionaire type of men who are, running big major Fortune 500 companies, who are hobnobbing with the rich and the famous and the wealthy people of the world. These are not men who have all of this power. So how are you allowing them to manipulate you? And I mean, come on, you have Austin. How are you allowing someone like Austin, who everybody says is emotionally immature? Everybody says that Austin is so emotionally immature. Then you have Brennan, who he's not some, powerful, hobnobbing kind of man. And then you have Cameron. Okay, half the time he was in the hospital. So how are you allowing these men to control your stories, your narratives, and how you want to be presented? What is it about these men who have so much power and control that you're allowing yourself to be manipulated by them? Okay, they're not even using religion as a tool of manipulation like your boy Garrick on Seeking Sister Wives, where he's trying to keep his women in line by using religion and trying to brainwash them with his religious rhetoric. It's not like that. They're not even using religion. They're not powerful men. They're not wealthy men. They're not men who are like in the top echelon of society. So how are you allowing these men to control you? Like, make it make sense, please. So he asked that, and the women were like, oh, we were just wanting, successful marriages, and we wanted to protect our husbands. And that is like the most misogynist. That is like so archaic, so backwards. What's the word I'm looking for? I don't even know what the word I'm looking for because I'm so heated right now. For them to be like, we were just trying to protect our husbands. It was disgusting. Y'all were not trying to protect your husbands, because what you're talking about, what you're saying, your reasoning for doing what y'all did on this show has nothing to do with you protecting anybody other than protecting your own images and wanting to present a certain narrative. Okay, let me move on. Then we got to Lauren and Orion. So I think they asked Lauren, do you believe that Orion was here for the right reasons, that he really wanted to be married to you, that he was here for the purpose of getting married? Lauren said no, because she says in the very, very beginning of their marriage, I don't know if it was at the honeymoon or exactly at what time, but very early on, and it had to be because they didn't last too long. they were having issues right after the honeymoon. So she said that very early on, Orion told her that the purpose of him being on this show was to showcase his culture, to showcase the indigenous people, because he is indigenous, and that what did she say? That she was like, I don't know what word she used. I forgot the word that she used, but she was kind of like, him being married to her was just, par for the course, basically. Like, it was just a little a side thing. That wasn't the main purpose of him being on here. The main purpose was for him to promote his culture and talk about the indigenous people. And Orion said that's not true. He said that I wanted to be married. I got on this show to be married, but I was going to take advantage of this platform to also talk about my culture, to also present my culture. As much as I love Lauren, I kind of feel like what Orion said, and as much as I despise Orion, I kind of feel like what Orion said had the ring of truth to it. Like, yes, I wanted to be married. I came on this show to find a wife, but at the same time, I was going to, take advantage of being on this show to talk about my people. That, to me, that sounds a little bit more, I don't think it's 100% true, but it sounds a little bit more plausible than him telling Lauren, hey, I'm not here for a wife. I'm just here to talk about my culture. That, to me, just doesn't sound like it's it just doesn't sound all the way true to me. Now, because of the fact that he was trying to, he was trying to sabotage his own marriage very early on. Like, he was just trying to find reasons to divorce Lauren very early on. It could be true that his sole purpose, but then he must have known that if you're going to get a divorce early on, if you got on the show just to talk about your culture, so you had no intentions of staying married to Lauren, then he must have known that he wasn't going to have a platform anymore. Because when you get a divorce and you don't even want to live together, they usually get rid of you. So it would have been very counterproductive of what he was trying to do if his main goal was to be on this show to talk about the indigenous people. Because if you're going to divorce your wife, then that's going to be over. So I don't really know. But when I heard both sides, I was leaning a little bit more towards what Orion was saying. And I despise Orion. So, it takes a lot for me to say that. So all the girls blamed Cameron. We come back to the optics, everybody, all the girls were like, this is all Cameron's, mastermind idea of making us all be fake on camera. All of us had to Cameron was in the hospital for like half of the damn season. When did he have the time? Okay, when did he have the time and the opportunity and the energy? Because the boy can barely get out a sentence without catching his breath. When was he manipulating everybody to present false narratives for the show? When was this happening? But they were all blaming, this is all Cameron's idea. Cameron was the one that made us do this. And Night two of the honeymoon, Claire told Cameron she was in love. Okay, so this is what Cameron said. Cameron obviously denied. He's like, no, I'm not the mastermind behind this. It's basically Claire. So Cameron says at night two of their honeymoon, Claire confided in him, off camera, of course, that she had a boyfriend and that she was still in love with her boyfriend. And in fact, she had sex with her boyfriend before coming on the show. And so he was like, okay, so this marriage isn't going to work. You're caught up with somebody else, you're in love with somebody else, this marriage is clearly not going to work. Of course, Claire denied all of that. Now, from there on out, because he knew that his marriage was not going to work, Claire came up with this idea, I guess, to still try to be on the show, that, they were going to act like they were having problems in their marriage and that, that's why they're not going to stay together, anything but the truth, right? And so he agreed with her to present all of this, to do all of these, fake storylines about religion and, all this, whatever reasons that they had of not getting along. Because I know one of her thing was her religion was important to her. He didn't really care about religion and she acted like that bothered her. Also the fact that, there were other stuff too that I really can't remember, but whatever reasons they gave during the show why they couldn't work out, Cameron was basically trying to say all of that was false. It was all fake. It was basically to protect Claire because she didn't want to be in this marriage. And I was just trying to do, what she wanted me to do. On that, I'm kind of leaning more towards Cameron. Okay, So Cameron said that they planned to give a false representation. Cameron agreed to create a fake reason for things not working out because Claire didn't want to be with them. So she came up with the idea. Like I said, I just said this. I'm sorry I'm repeating myself, but she's the one that said, hey, it's not going to work out. I don't want to be with you. You don't want to be with me. So let's just act like, our problems are X, Y, and Z just to give them a story. Okay, fine. Becca also says that she was manipulated by Austin. Becca, your intelligence is like leaps and bounds above Austin. How did you get yourself? How did you find yourself being manipulated by him? Okay, on the maturity level, he's like 16 years old. You're a grown woman. How in the world did this man manipulate you? Please explain, Becca. Were you that desperate? Like, did this show change you so much that it changed your DNA? It changed the core of who you were to the point where you're allowing yourself to be manipulated by someone like Austin? With all due respect, Austin, I'm not crapping on Austin. I like Austin, but come on, compared to Becca, there's just no way. There's just no way that he was so like mentally powerful, so intellectual, so manipulative over Becca. I just don't believe it. So Becca also said that she was manipulated by Austin. She wishes that she was more authentic in the process. You have the opportunity to do that. You have the opportunity to do that. And I think at some points, there were times when she was trying to be more honest, more authentic. Like I remember when they met with, I think it was Dr. Pia, and she had said that, I want to say so much more, but I feel like I can't because he's going to get mad. So there were times when she was trying to be more authentic, when she was trying to bring, the real Becca on camera. I remember that. I remember that very well. But her excuse was, well, I can't say too much because he's just going to get mad at me. So Kevin asked Austin if he was attracted to Becca. Austin said, yes, I am attracted to Becca. And then Kevin was like, well, it didn't look like it. It didn't look like that at all during the season. Like, we didn't see none of that. Austin and Kevin had said in the very beginning that when you try to be very, when you feel like you can outplay the system, when you can outsmart the system, this machine that's Married at First Sight, when you feel like you can outsmart it, it doesn't work out. It never works out because the whole thing is going to blow up in your face, which is true because Austin, you claiming that you are attracted to Becca, I don't know if you were trying to look attracted to her, trying to appear like you were attracted to her, but it did not come across on camera at all. We all saw right through it. We knew that you were not attracted to Becca, and that's okay. I mean, if only they knew that it's okay to not be attracted to whoever the hell they matched you with. We understand. We're humans. We know what it's like. Okay, we get it. We know what it's like to not be attracted to someone who people think that you should be with or whatever. We get it. We understand it. So you're not being mean or evil or wicked or mean-spirited by just saying, I'm sorry, I just don't have the attraction. You're not gaining brownie points from us by lying about it because we can see right through it. Moving on to Cameron and Claire. So Claire told the girls that she was, okay, so after everybody cleared the stage, they were going to bring back Claire and Cameron. But before Claire got on stage, she was in the dressing room with all the girls and she was like really nervous. And she was like, oh my God, I'm so scared. And I'm thinking to myself, what are you scared of? You think the truth is on your side. You think that the truth is in you. What are you scared of? If you have the truth on your side, okay, if you're a good person and you think that you're going to be honest and you're going to be truthful, you should not be scared. You should not be worried. You should be actually happy that you're going to get a chance to set the record straight, to let the people know what really was going on. You should be happy and excited about it. Not, oh my God, I'm so scared. Scared of what? That you're going to trip up on your lies and that, we're going to like you even less. Well, not we, but I'm going to like you even less and I already do. So she tells the girls that she's really scared. But anyways, to come out on stage, her and Cameron, and they sit on opposite sides and Kevin is in the middle. And the thing that I want to talk about is the tall and slender issue. So Claire wants us to believe that she was always attracted to Cameron and that, she was the one that wanted this to work more than he did. And she says to us that he was the one that was not attracted to her. And she knew this when he told her that he had told the experts he wanted a woman that was tall and slender. So she said that she was reading in between the lines. And as a woman, that's what she did. She was reading between the lines and the lines told her that this man is not attracted to you, that he thinks that you're short and fat because he wants somebody tall and slender, and you're not tall. I mean, she's small, she's tiny, but I don't know why I don't know why she interpreted that as, oh, he sees me as being short and fat. So Cameron was like, that's not how it went down. He was trying to make a point of, we were asking each other, what did we tell the experts we were looking for? What do we tell the experts what we would normally be attracted to? Like, what is our type? What do we look for in a partner? And so I said tall and slender. I didn't see anything wrong with that. You know, I think when I listen to both of them, I'm leaning more towards Cameron, because what he said sounded plausible, that they were having a conversation when they first got married. So when they first met, they were having a conversation, and they're like, oh, what did you tell the experts you were looking for? Or am I anything like that? Or what did you tell the experts of what you were looking for? And so they were just like talking about what they had expressed, what they are normally attracted to. And Cameron said that did not mean that I was not attracted to her. You know, because they asked me, hey, what do you normally go for? What's your type of woman? He said tall. He said tall and European, not tall and slender. He said tall and European. And she said that, you know, you said tall and slender, so you saw me as fat. Claire, girl, Claire gets under my skin. Okay. Claire irritates me to no end. She is master manipulator. Okay. She lives in her own universe where everything she says is 100% correct, and anything that anybody else says is completely false. So, I believe I do believe that Cameron was attracted to her, because I watched the damn show. Now, there were times when he was, you know, a complete cad, like when he didn't want to carry her suitcase in the airport, and he was walking like a little bit ahead of her and leaving her behind. And that was rude. He shouldn't have done that. He should have been more helpful. I admit that, of course, but when I watched them, I always felt like he was attracted to her. Okay. That's just how I felt. So, then the question was, did Claire go visit him at the hospital? He said no, and she said yes. And I'm thinking, how can y'all be on completely different sides of the spectrum on that question? Whether her body was in the hospital, in his hospital room, or it wasn't. There's no gray area. He said that she would always make plans to come see him, but she would always bail out at the last minute. She said that she visited him at the hospital, but she didn't really expound on that. I thought she was going to say more. I thought she was going to be like, well, remember, it was a Tuesday. I was there at 10 o'clock in the morning. You know, I came into your room, and, you know, your lunch tray was out, and this show was playing on the TV, and this is what we talked about when I was in the hospital room with you. I thought she was going to give more concrete proof of her visiting him. So on that issue, I still have to give Cameron a point, because it sounds like she had nothing to back it up. If you really went to go see him, can you tell us what happened when you went to go see him? Like, what did y'all talk about? What did you see? What was going on when you were at the hospital? Like, can you tell us? But she had nothing to say. Okay. So Claire said he was being, so she talks about how, you know, Cameron was being very duplicitous, and that she didn't know who she was really dealing with, you know, because he was always being fake with her. And Kevin was like, but all of you were complicit in this, because all of you were involved in this whole thing of optics and, you know, presenting whatever you wanted to present in front of the camera. Cameron wonders what would have been if they were to try again. So he brings up this possibility of them reconciling. And I was just like, Cameron, where is this going? What are you really trying to say? Because I really don't believe that you want to get back with her. So he was like, you know, if things were different, if we're more honest with each other, I think it probably could have worked out between us. And I'm thinking to myself, Cameron, no, don't do this. Don't embarrass yourself like this. You know, there's something wrong with your brain. In addition to your heart, there's something wrong with your brain if you really are trying to get back with this woman. So Claire wasn't entertaining this at all. She was like, oh yeah. She starts off by saying, no, you know, I just don't have any trust in you. You called me a sociopath. You know, you said that you're blaming me for this, and that, you know, saying that I was, you know, manipulated. She gives all of these reasons of why she won't go back to Cameron, right? She said that she felt really controlled by Cameron. She said that she was feeling controlled by Cameron right there at the reunion. She goes, I'm feeling like I'm being controlled right now. Because he said that he wants to possibly get back with you. You feel like you're being controlled? Okay. So, Then Kevin asked her, so are you seeing anybody right now? And she says, yes, she has a boyfriend. Okay, so Claire, my little love bug, my little daffodil. When Cameron asked you, or when he implied or alluded that he wanted to possibly get back with you, why didn't you just say, I have a boyfriend? In addition to you manipulating me and controlling me, I have a boyfriend and I'm not interested. Like, why wouldn't you just say that? I don't understand, like, why you just didn't lead with that. Like, I have a boyfriend. I can't get back with you. You know, not only are you this kind of person and I'm not attracted to you, I have a boyfriend. But anyway, she didn't say it. Whatever. So, I think Claire had a boyfriend the whole entire time. Because the way that she was like really distant with him, really cold with him, she had a boyfriend the whole entire time. So she talks about how she just graduated with her master's. So during the show, while they were filming, she was not a licensed therapist yet. She probably she wasn't a licensed therapist. And so, but she kept on calling herself a therapist. I'm thinking this was her profession that she was in. I don't know how it works. Maybe when you're working on your master's, you are a therapist. You're still out there helping people and getting paid for it. I don't know. But I was just under the impression that she was already done with school. Moving on from there. Then they bring out Austin and Becca. So then they play the clip of them at the skating rink where, you know, Becca was like, oh, Austin, you know, I really like you. I care for you, or whatever she said. And Austin was really awkward and uncomfortable. And he said something like, what did he say? He said, this is a lot for me right now. I think that's what he said. He goes, this is a lot for me. And Becca was kind of like, what do you mean it's a lot for you? And then he says, I love liking you. It's just really awkward, immature, cringy, uncomfortable. And Becca said in that particular scene, it took a lot for him to even try to say those words. Like for him to show any semblance of like being caring or loving, it took a lot. And I was wondering, what do you mean by that? It took a lot. You had to reshoot it multiple times until you got the right scene. Like, what do you mean it took a lot for him to say that? So Becca said that after that scene, when they left to go home, they argued in the car, and that the scene really doesn't show exactly what was going on because, you know, like she said, it was hard for him to appear like he was loving or caring, and then they fought afterwards. Austin claimed that he was being authentic in that scene. Becca mentions how on camera he talked a good game about fixing all their problems, including their intimacy issues, but then off camera there was no follow through. He didn't act on what he said. Austin says that the sexual connection for him was a whole lot slower than it was for her, and then Kevin says, but it never happened. Kevin was like, okay, we could buy that it was slower for you if eventually it led to that, but y'all never got anywhere near intimacy on any kind of level, whether it was sexual, emotional, there was like no level of intimacy at all. So you're talking about you're slower than Becca, but you never got there. It wasn't like she was already waiting for you at the finish line and waiting for you to catch up. You were nowhere to be seen. So Becca says that she never knew about the whole 6-month rule because they played the clip when he was on, I was about to say Watch What Happens Live, when he was on the after party with Keisha Knight-Pulliam, and Keisha Knight-Pulliam had asked him, so like in your normal dating life, you know, how long does it take for you to get to intimacy? And he said, I have a 6-month rule. Becca says, you never mentioned that to me. If you would have told me that, maybe I would have understood you better. But she's like, you never mentioned that to me, that you had this 6-month rule. And I would constantly ask you about past relationships and, you know, how was intimacy for you in your past relationships? And you gave me absolutely nothing. You never said anything about a 6-month rule. Austin said that there was kissing. He tells her, look, you know, we kissed, we hugged, we made out. You know, it wasn't as much as you would have liked, but we did. And Austin said, you know, everything was working out with us until, you know, a wedge hindered our progress. And his, what he considered the wedge was, you know, when he started being pressured with intimacy by Becca, by the experts, that's when he kind of like shut down. Becca said that the wedge was actually the producer, because she was a part of their, well, according to Becca, this mysterious producer was a problem for them like early on. So him hanging out with the producer or whatever was going on between him and producer and Austin lying about it, this is what to her hindered their relationship, because she was always like a part of their problems. Becca said that Austin told her that no matter what, they were going to say yes on decision day and then work out their problems afterward. That's what she said, which is what they did. But, she ended up breaking up with him or divorcing him because, he lied about the whole producer thing. I don't know. Okay. Austin says he never said that to her. He says, I didn't tell her that. Kevin asked about reconciliation. Becca said no, she's good on that. Becca also talked about a story where she said that they were in the kitchen cooking. This is all part of their intimacy problems. They were in the kitchen one day making dinner and she hugged him and they were hugging. They had their clothes on. It was nothing sexual, just, giving each other a hug. And then she said that Austin pushed her away and said, "Get away from me, you horny girl." Then she also mentioned how she had suggested to Austin that they take a shower together but with their clothes on, and he still wasn't down with that. So this was part of her point in proving that you talked a good game on camera, but you didn't follow through with any of us working on our actual intimacy. So when they asked her, "Do you want to reconcile with him?" she said, "No, I'm good." She's not even ready to be friends with him. She's not even ready for that. She says, "I just don't trust him right now. And it's going to take a long time for me to gain any trust in him." Becca, then she says to him that she never felt like he was a priority, and if he would have, if she was important to him, and if he really did care for her, and if he really did love her, it would have been easy for him to make her a priority. Kevin still felt like we never really got to the bottom of their issue. Like he felt like, not the full story was told, that they were not being completely honest. And I felt that too. I felt that more so on Austin's part than Becca, but I felt that too. And then Austin got offended with what Kevin said. Austin said, "What do you mean we never got to the truth of it? Are you implying that I'm not being honest?" And Kevin was like, "Yeah, that's exactly what I'm implying, because I feel like there's something missing in this story, but that's okay. If you don't want to talk about what really went down, if you don't want to be completely 100% honest, that's okay. You don't have to be." And, Austin was like, "Well, I feel like my honesty is being questioned." Yeah, because you're not honest. You're not honest, Austin. You're not. You say one thing, but you act differently. You're not honest. Then they bring out Chloe and Michael. Chloe and Michael was the only couple that sat next to each other thus far. Okay. They didn't sit opposite each other. They sat on the same couch. So they sat next to each other. When she left the apartment, remember when she decided to move out in the very beginning, when they first moved in together, she said that she needed time alone and had to go check on her animals. And he was like, "Okay, if you need the space, I understand." But Chloe said on the reunion that she hoped that Michael would have told her not to go. Okay, Chloe, you grew on me, girl. You grew on me. I liked you. I like you a lot. And I still like you, because I separate you from all the nonsense that everybody else was doing. So I like you a lot. I have a lot of respect for you, Chloe. But girl, let's stop, grown women. We can't be playing these games, with our partners, where it's like, you want your man to say or do a certain thing. So you hint at it, or you do something and girl, if you want him to tell you to stay, say that. Just use your words, say that. At that moment, later on, when you move back in, you could, "Hey, when I moved out, I really wanted you to tell me this." First of all, the thing is, sometimes I feel like with men, they don't know what to say or do. If they show too much interest or if they try to make you do something, then they're going to come off as controlling and manipulative. And he didn't let me leave when I wanted to leave. If you would have said, "Chloe, don't leave, stay," then it would have been like, "Oh my God, he's so controlling, trying to control me." So the men don't know what the hell to do. So like, "Oh, you want to leave? Okay, I support that, girl. Do you?" And then when they do that, when they do allow you to do whatever you want to do, then it's like, "Oh, why didn't he tell me to stay?" That just showed me right there that he wasn't interested. Stop with the games, Chloe. If you wanted to leave, leave. But don't leave expecting him to tell you to stay. Don't do that. Don't play those games. Otherwise, just don't leave. So she felt like from day one that he really wasn't invested in their relationship. And that's why it was easy for him to say no on decision day, because he was never really interested in making it work, long term from day one. Like he never really saw himself with Chloe for the long run. Chloe tells the story of Michael not expecting her to change her last name. So this is one of her examples of him early on not really planning or wanting to stay with her after decision day, because when she has suggested changing her last name, he was like, no, you can keep your name. Now, Michael had a different version. He was like, no, I don't think it really went like that. I think I gave her the option of whether or not she wanted to change her name. Like, once again, men don't really know, because I remember, I don't remember their names. Okay, it was Married at First Sight Chicago. Now they have 2 little girls. Her family owned a restaurant in Chicago. He had like the elf ears. And like I said, they're still married until today. I don't remember their names. She was blonde on the show, but now she's a brunette. Now, when it came to her changing her last name, he wanted her to change her last name to his. And she did not want to do that. She was like, that's my choice, my choice. So the men don't know what the hell to say. If they say change your last name so we can be seen as one, have the same last name, look like a family, look like a couple, blah, blah, blah. Oh, you're controlling me. But then if they're like, do what you want to do. Oh, you don't care. So they don't know what to do. Okay. So they talk about the name change, and then him not telling his mom. She brought that up as well. She said, I made it look like I didn't care that he didn't tell his mom, or that I supported him in not telling his mom. But deep down inside, I felt like he should have told his mom. She said that if he really wanted to stay with her long term, then he would have told his mom, because in her mind, because she says going into this, she knew that she was going to say yes on decision day, regardless of who they matched her with. Unless it was somebody really, really horrible, like a total monster, she was going to say yes on decision day no matter what. So in her mind, she's coming into this with plans of it lasting a lifetime. So she's picking up these little signs in the beginning of their relationship where she's thinking that Michael does not have the same plan as she does. Excuse me. One of the things was him not telling his mom. So she was like, yeah, you didn't want to tell your mom about me. So that kind of made me think that, you really were not invested. But at the time, and this is why Dr. Pia, I think, called them out for being less than honest when she went to go visit them. And they talked about that specifically with Dr. Pia, where they had said, yeah, Michael doesn't want to tell his mom about me, but I'm okay with that. I support him in that. That doesn't bother me. And I think Dr. Pia even had a reaction to that. She was like, are you sure that doesn't bother you? And Chloe was like, yeah, I support him in that. We talked about it. I'm cool with that. But in reality, she wasn't. And that's why Dr. Pia was like, y'all are lying. Y'all are being fake. And I got mad at Dr. Pia because I believed Chloe. I believed that she was okay with him not telling his mom. But, hindsight's 2020 on my part. So now I'm like, I'm sorry, Dr. Pia, that I, got mad at you and felt, I got on your case for calling them liars. I apologize. I take it back. So she really did have a problem with him not telling his mom. It did bother her. What are you going to do? She'd said that, if he would have, because he didn't tell his mom, obviously he didn't want to be with her after decision day. Michael didn't feel like they had built. So they asked him, like, what exactly made you say no on decision day? Like, what's really going on, Michael? Let's get to the bottom of this. Michael kind of hemmed and hawed a little bit. He really was saying a whole lot of words, but not really saying much. But the bottom line, he said, was that they didn't have a strong enough foundation for them to really build a marriage on. I thought they were going to bring up the animals and the foster kids, but that was a non-issue. So he said they just didn't have a strong enough foundation. Chloe says she came into this process to stay married. Kevin thought that they would work out for sure. I mean, I thought so too. Michael says that he regretted feeling the way he did that made him say no on decision day. He does regret the feelings that he had on that day. Chloe is not open to reconciliation. She's one of those people that believes, and I'm that way as well. She believes that, everything happens for a reason. For him to say no on decision day, it was just a way for the universe to remove him from her life so that she can find her true Prince Charming. So she has no hopes of reconciliation. Everything happened the way that it was supposed to, etc. Michael, to me, he speaks so eloquently. Sometimes, people accuse him of being long-winded. I've done that. But I love it when he talks, because whenever he talks with intention, talks with a purpose. We might not get it right away, but I feel like when he talks, he just has a way of talking that I really enjoy listening to. Chloe, to me, is elegant. She's beautiful. She's majestic. She's so poised. I just love Chloe. Okay, moving on from there. Then they bring out all the women on stage. The women do a lot of when I say the women, I'm really talking about Chloe, Claire. I'm sorry. I'm really talking about Becca, Claire and Emily and a little tiny bit of Lauren, because Lauren is really deep in with these girls. I wish that Lauren would have been more neutral. Now we know why Chloe's neutral, because she really wasn't there for the whole process. She wasn't with these people from day one. So I can see why Chloe's neutral. But Lauren has been with them since day one. I just wish that, I think what Lauren is doing, I think she is projecting a lot of her own issues on everybody else's relationship. So she feels like, they all went through the same thing. Lauren really was cheated out of an experience. Then matching her with Orion was a big mistake. He did cheat her out of the full experience that she was entitled to have. She was done dirty from early on. Lauren was done dirty. So I don't think that she is like with the other women, in cahoots and being manipulative. I don't see her being that bad, but she's really bonded with these girls because they've been together since the beginning. But Lauren is the real victim, whereas the other women are just as guilty and just as culpable as the men. So they bring all the women out, and the women acting as if, we're strong and we're gonna put these men in their place and we're gonna expose these men. It was just too performative for me, way too performative. So this is when Kevin asked him, if you're so strong, why would you go along with what these men were making y'all do? And Claire says that she wanted to protect Cameron and she didn't want the public to see him the way she saw him. Girl, what? What mumbo jumbo are you talking about, girl? What are you saying? What? She said, I went along with it because I was just trying to protect Cameron. Why do you care about protecting him? You don't even know this man. You don't know him. So why do you feel the need that you have to put your reputation at stake to protect a stranger? I mean, if he's an awful guy, if he's manipulative and he's controlling, he's all of these things, let the public know. Let them know exactly what he is, so that when you're sitting on that damn reunion stage and trying to explain yourself on why you did what you did, it would make sense to us. But because you went along with whatever he wanted you to go along with, supposedly, allegedly, now you're up here looking crazy and you're sidestepping and you're double talking and you're backtracking, and none of this is making any sense to anybody. So the only one, okay, so like I said, to me, the only one who was really cheated out of this experience was Lauren. Emily felt like Brandon took advantage of her. Okay, so Emily talks about how when she got injured on the ATV, she felt like Brandon used that opportunity, used her injury, her accident, to really come off looking like the savior. Because, so many times he talked about how he saved her life. Nobody believes that Brendan saved Emily's life. He did not save her life, because there was like a whole medic team that was probably on standby. Anywho, so she was like, well, and she started crying, thinking about how she thought that her injury would have brought them closer, or that she wanted to believe that caring side of him was genuine, but then came to realize that he was only acting and performing. He really didn't care about me. He was just taking advantage of my injuries to try to come off as the hero, the savior, the one who rescued the damsel who ran into a tree on her ATV. So she started crying about that. And as she was crying about it, Claire, you know how Claire is. Whenever a female is crying, she starts the whole back rubbing, shoulder rubbing thing. Well, honey, on the reunion, she went a step further. She climbed over the damn couch. Okay, the girl was climbing the couch like a 2-year-old toddler so that she can comfort Emily. I was like, Claire, what are you doing? Sit the hell down. She actually climbed over her couch, over her chair, to sit on the arm of Emily's chair y'all, it was just ridiculous. It was just ridiculous. It was so ridiculous. You can show your support without the theatrics. So Kevin begins to wrap up the segment, right? He's like, okay, thank you for whatever, and he's wrapping it up. And then Emily's like, wait a minute, we haven't even talked about other things. We needed to discuss other things. And he was like, okay, like what? And then she says, oh, well, how Brandon was trying to talk to my best friend, he was trying to talk to Claire's best friend, and then Kevin was like, girl, we're gonna get to that. Let me run my damn show. I'm in control of all of this. I know what the hell I'm doing. Shut the hell up. We're going to get to all of that. Okay. That's some juicy stuff. It's good for ratings. Trust and believe. We're going to get to that. Relax. Then they bring out Emily and Brennan. So Emily and Brennan, I'm too tired. Right now, I'm 44 minutes in. I'm too tired. I'm too disgusted. I'm too exhausted to talk about Emily and Brennan. It's the same old with them. You know, Brennan talking about protecting Emily. He didn't want to hurt her feelings. Her saying, I'm a big girl. I can take it. Nothing you can say can hurt me. Him being, apologetic for how he talked to Dr. Pia, because he was controlling in that segment, in that scene, in that clip, when Dr. Pia was like, Emily, talk to me, girl. What's up? And Brennan was like, she doesn't want to talk to you, or whatever he said. Of course, I'm exaggerating. He's like, she doesn't have anything to say about that. He was being very controlling in that scene, extremely controlling. Like, he was trying to control what she was trying to say. That scene, I believe Emily 100% when she talks about Brennan being controlling. At that part right there, he was being controlling because he was not allowing her to talk. He was over talking her. So yes, that was true. So Brennan was trying to be apologetic, and she was like, you talk about how you were trying to protect me, but it wasn't about protecting me. It was about protecting your damn self. That's what I'm going to say about Emily and Brennan. So I'm pretty sure we're going to see the rest of it next week. Lauren, you were robbed for sure. Claire, sit down and relax and be honest for once. The men and the women, the core men and women, you know who I'm talking about. They all were culpable. All of them were responsible. All of them need to take accountability. Their true innocents were Lauren, Chloe, and Michael. Those are the only ones that I feel like, gave us their all, were authentic and transparent. Lauren, you're a little bit in too deep with the Three Musketeers. I'm going to need you to remove yourself just a little bit. Your experience was not their experience. Becca, also, I do have a little bit of sympathy for Becca as well, because even though Becca, I do have sympathy for Becca because Austin was never being honest with her. He was not being authentic with her. He was not being sincere with her. Had Becca all kinds of confused. I don't think that Becca had this mission to get him, to get Austin. I don't think she was like that. I think that Emily and Claire, they're the ones that have that vengeful spirit, and they want to expose their husbands and put their husbands down and make their husbands look bad, and they're out to get them. Now, Cameron, I feel like he was culpable because he agreed to go along with Claire. I think Claire was the mastermind in that relationship. And I think that Cameron did agree to go along with Claire, but it ended up biting him in the end. Brandon, to me, is just as culpable as anybody else. Brandon, to me, was manipulative. I do think that there were times when he was controlling, and I'm talking about specifically when they did that thing with Dr. Pia. He was very controlling towards Emily with that. But I do think that him and Emily had an agreement to talk about certain things on camera and to keep a lot of this stuff off camera, because they were trying to look out for each other, trying to protect each other. Now, Emily's trying to turn it around and be like, you're the one manipulating me, when I think that they were equally culpable in that relationship. Anyways, thank you so much for joining me. I really do appreciate it. On your way out, please don't forget to rate the video. If you like this content, please subscribe to my channel, and I'll definitely talk to you later. Bye.